kids. Welcome to another edition of Bad Pop Song, the show where we take you on a magical carpet ride into a world of musical cringe, film and television reviews. But today we're going back to form, and we will be discussing Jules, the very famous folk pop singer.
Mm-hmm.
Her 1997 hit from the Batman and Robin soundtrack, Foolish Games.
Batman and Robin? Really?
Not particularly, in my opinion, a cringy song.
No, not really.
But it's from a very cringy movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I felt it was appropriate to talk about. And we can talk a little bit about Batman and Robin I might want to talk about a little bit about it. But anyway, so yeah, Foolish Games by Jewel. The Batman and Robin version, as I call it. It's really the radio edit.
Whatever that includes. We'll have to get into that.
Yeah, it's actually a B-side radio edit, but yeah, but since this version appears on the Batman and Robin soundtrack, I just call it the Batman and Robin version.
Gotcha.
It's more fun that way.
Well, shall we do a little musical interlude so that people can run off and listen to it and then come back?
Please, yes. Go. Run and listen to it. We have the link to the song right on this page.
And then come back here.
Come back to us.
And you're back.
Yay! So are you moved?
That's actually a nice song.
Really?
I mean, Jewel is one of those artists where she just has that voice that draws you in. You know, it's.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's very simple, very. It's a beautiful voice. It doesn't. There's nothing about it that gets on your nerves or anything, even if you've heard it 1,000 times over. Because I remember when this song was popular and it was on every other day.
What do I love to say? You couldn't swing a dead cat without hearing this song.
Exactly.
Oh, like the second you just walked out the door, it was playing. Like
everybody's radio just blasting it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That being said, I mean, on the Morganometer, I would turn this up.
Yay!
It's a good song.
Oh my god! Yeah, you should hear me sing this in the car, like full volume. I mean, this song's at full volume. I'm at full volume. And I just but we'll get into all that. But yeah.
So, well, let's dive in. Why do you love this song, Bo?
Okay. There's lots of Boland in this. So
okay, go for it. Take us into this magical world.
I gotta go all the way back to like spring of 1996.
Okay.
And I had just for a lot of 1995, I was dating a guy, and I just didn't feel like it was really going anywhere. We were in different places. And but you know, a lot of and this happens to I was in my 20s, you know. I was young, but you know, we just couldn't put it to rest. You know, there was lots of stalking, there were lots of booty calls, that sort of thing. I just couldn't like entirely break it off with this guy, even though I knew
it wasn't going to work out.
This was not going to work out. So, well, I met this guy. Let's just call him Brad.
Brad.
Yeah. So I meet this guy named Brad. Probably. I would, let's say, like March of 1996.
Okay.
I meet Brad, and Brad and I are hanging out a lot, and I think this is the guy that's going to get me over Scotty. I think this is going to stop like the stalking and the booty calls and things like that. So Brad and I are hanging out a lot, and Brad just ghosts me.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, like we were hanging out for like a month, and
then suddenly gone.
And there were definitely sparks, and then he just completely ghosted me. And then I heard back from him in early summer of 1996, where I was already like seeing somebody,
Uh-huh.
and this somebody and I
You had moved on.
we were getting serious.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even know it was moved on. He just like, Brad ghosted me, and I was just like, okay, whatever.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. No. Yeah. But I don't know. I was sad about it, but then, you know, I met Matthew, and then Matthew and I were getting serious.
Mm-hmm.
And then early summer, I get this phone call on my voicemail from Brad saying, "Yeah, I'm sorry. I know it's been, let's see, it's been like 2.5 months."
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "There's a really good reason." He goes, I would still like to see you. There's a really good reason why we haven't talked." And I said, "Can we like meet for coffee or something?" Okay, so I met up with Brad. I told Brad the minute we sat down in the coffee shop. I said, "Look, I'm seriously seeing somebody now."
Right.
And I was like, "You just quit calling me." And he's like, "Well, I got bit by a dog, and it was really bad, and I had to have surgery, and it was just really traumatic, and everything I went through." And he had like visible scars on his like
Oh my
the
God.
dog had like bitten like like right around his mouth, so he had like a scar from there. You could see it like from yeah, right from the like the top of like his top lip sort of, and then there's one underneath like his bottom lip on the same side. But
Oh
there
my
was, yeah.
gosh.
And it wasn't anything you would just kind of like stare at it, you know, but it was like a visible scar. But
Yeah.
you know, but you also wouldn't like think twice about it either, you know. Just
It's yeah.
but
Once you notice it, but otherwise, no.
but it's weird. I didn't really. It's strange. I didn't notice it until he told me that it actually happened.
Right.
When he told me that he got bit by the dog, I was like, "What a story! Come on, really? Like, why don't you just tell me you weren't interested? You know?" And then I like looked at his scar, and I was like, "Oh!" And then it occurred to me, I was like, "Oh shit! Maybe he's like telling the truth." But that's kind of what came out of it. And he was like, "Well," he goes, he says, "We're still friends, right?" He goes, "I'm sorry." He goes, "I just stopped talking to everybody. It was really traumatic. The bite was bad. The dog bite was bad. The surgery was, you know, the recovery wasn't fun." And he goes, "I just didn't feel like talking to anybody." And I said, "Yeah, if you want to be friends, that's cool. Like, yeah, we can hang out. You can meet my new boyfriend, whatever. You know, it's cool." So I don't know. I don't know, like a year and a half later, like Matthew and I are on the outs.
Yeah.
And I, of course, I think this was the one breakup like in my entire life that just completely traumatized me. And I was just very melodramatic and over the top, and I moved. I became very just like nomadic, and I couldn't really find a place where I could go where I just.
Was this the breakup where you traded in your pickup truck for the Isuzu?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, that got me over him for about like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then buying that vehicle was like a huge regret. Yeah, like never make a big purchase.
When you're emotional.
Yeah. When you're emotional, because you'll realize not too long after that it was a huge mistake. Yeah. I just couldn't. I moved back home to Tampa, and I couldn't. It took me maybe 3 months before I could really get it together again.
Yeah.
And then it was but it was a rough breakup. But as the breakup was like kind of happening, I was assistant manager for like a specialty retail store at the mall. And this is where Brad comes back into the story. Brad comes and visits me, and I was explaining to him about the breakup, and because he had met Matthew and everything, and he's being very wonderful, very consoling, very supportive. And he said, are you listening to music? He goes, you know, it's of course. I said, of course, I'm listening to music. That's all I do is listen to music. He goes, have you listened to Jules' Foolish Games? And at the time, I had never heard the song yet.
Which is weird.
Well, Pieces of You, her album. I mean, that album, that stayed on the charts for over 2 years, you know? And I remember back in 95, you know, when that album was dropped, it was like February of 1995 too. And this was already like late 1997, you know, and there were still songs off that were like charting. But anyway, I always liked Jewel, especially that You Were Meant for Me song. Cause you know, she talks about, it takes you a minute, but you finally realize that like she's imagining, you know, the person's not there and the person's not coming back, but she's just kind of living her life like he's there, or you know, that they're there or they're going to come back or something. You know,
this is in the Foolish Games.
No. This is that song You Were Meant for Me. Yeah. She talks about doing all the things that she, you know, she wasn't doing when they were together, but she's doing them now. Like she puts the cap back on and she, you know,
delusionally trying to make things better.
Yeah. And it takes you a second to realize that like, oh, hey, they're not there.
Yeah.
And they're not coming back. So I always liked the concept of that song. And I always liked, you know, the songs that I had already heard from Pieces of You, but I never liked it enough to like buy the whole album, to buy the CD. So I had actually never listened to the song Foolish Games. And the album version, the Foolish Games version on Pieces of You, is very different from the Batman and Robin version. It's the Pieces of You version of Foolish Games. It's a little slower. It's a longer song. It's probably like over 5 minutes. Maybe a little like 5 minutes, 21 seconds. It's very Joni Mitchell-esque, you know? I mean, there's still like the strings and the piano in it and everything, but again, it's very more Joni Mitchell. It's very personal. It's a little slower. It's a little personal. It's slightly less structured. There's a whole other second part of a second verse, you know, that's not on the radio release.
Right.
That's very personal. It's something
very intimate.
Yeah. Something about, you know, her maybe something along the lines of her hands were tied or that she dropped the ball and something just very personal. Like I'm kind of paraphrasing, but it's a much personal version, maybe more sort of even like alternative radio kind of a version. You know, it's again, it's very Joni Mitchell-esque to me. Like it's personal to the point that like the person listening to it, you know, it's about pain and loss. But there's also like a little bit of stuff in it that like only she's relating to, you know, that you may not be able to relate to. That's how personal the Foolish Games version on the Pieces of You album is. So what Brad was talking to me about was the Batman and Robin version, and
the one that everybody was hearing because was on the radio.
The one that everyone was hearing on the radio. And just out of coincidence, my shift was over. I jumped into my car and it was on the radio. I was like, oh my God, this is what
irony.
This is what he was telling me about. And I was just absolutely destroyed. Like I was listening to the lyrics. I was driving and I was just like, oh my God, you know, and not everything like completely relates to like Matthew and I in the song. There's, again, that song is very personal, and I think it's very tweaked to her own personal experience and things like that. But there was enough in it about breaking up and you know, hey, in case you know, especially the chorus, you know, or the case you fail to notice, in case you fail to see, this is my heart bleeding before you. This is me down on my knees. I mean, that was all it. This was everything I was going through.
Aww.
And it was one of the first songs that sort of is part of like me getting over Matthew playlist sort of thing. It was one of those first things. And I have a very fond memory of Brad, like at least telling me about that.
You should listen to this to help you get over it.
Yeah, because it really did help me process sort of that first part of like Matthew hadn't moved out yet, but it was getting to that point. Like I was already telling him, I said, okay, when are you going to come and get your stuff? Because
really,
I said, this is killing me. Just the usual dramatics of a 20-something-year-old. I'm not proud of it, but you know what? That's how I handled it back then.
This is why I don't date.
So Brad, if you're out there listening, thank you for introducing me to the song "Foolish Games," the Batman and Robin
version. When you called it the Batman and Robin version, I had this vision of a Bowland where it's like you went to go see the Batman and Robin film, and that was the only thing that you took away from it as good. You're like, oh, I heard the Jules song, and I was like, it was great.
I don't even remember the song from the movie.
It's one of those
I don't even remember things, probably. I don't even remember it in the film. No, I had and when Brad had told me when Matthew and I were breaking up, and Brad told me about the song, we had already seen Batman and Robin, so I was just like, okay. And neither of us like discussed the fact, like neither Brad or I discussed the Batman and Robin at all. So I didn't even know it was on that soundtrack. In fact, I went out and finally bought Pieces of You just for that song, only to hear a different version. And I was a little disappointed.
Yeah.
And then I did a little more research, and I was like flipping through a magazine, and I was just like looking at like I was at like a bookstore. You remember those?
Oh yeah.
And
they were wacky.
Do you remember like I was flipping through the Music Trade magazines like I used to. I was flipping through Billboard, and I was looking at the soundtracks, and it's a Batman and Robin, and it was like in the top 5 that week or something like that. And then so I actually ran to the record store like across the hall and found the Batman and Robin soundtrack, and it said Jewel, Foolish Games. So I was like, that's the version I want.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So did you buy the album?
I did.
Yeah.
I did it. I did just for the song.
Any other notable songs on there, or was the only one?
You know what?
Because at least Batman Fever had the Seal song, which was awesome.
Oh yeah,
Kiss from a Rose.
Yeah, Batman Forever.
Yeah,
Kiss from a Rose. I mean, both Joel Schumacher films, but I think Batman Forever is a way better film. I think. I don't. Yeah. Obviously.
Which isn't saying much, because the second film of his is not very good, and even Fever's not that great either.
Fever?
That's what I call it, because that's what David Letterman called it.
Batman Fever? That's really funny.
Yeah, everybody's got that Batman Fever.
Indeed. Was that like at the time? That's what he was calling it? Oh,
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that was one of the films that came out while I was working at the movie theater.
Oh, that's right.
So I heard Kiss from a Rose a lot.
Oh, I bet.
I did not mind it at all. I thought it was great.
It's an amazing song.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, I was already a big fan of Kiss from the Rose long before Batman Forever came out, because I was a big Seal fan. And that self-titled Seal album, not his debut album, it just happens to be another self-titled album. But yeah, that Seal album came out in spring or summer of 1994, and that's one of like my amazing memorable summers, because that's after college, and I moved back to Tampa, and I was just doing nothing but going to the beach and hanging out and recording stuff with my cousins and stuff. Yeah. And I bought that Seal album, and that Seal album has like Kiss from a Rose, it has Prayer for the Dying, it has Dreaming in Metaphors. That is like one of my favorite albums ever. So when Kiss from a Rose made the Batman soundtrack, Batman Forever sound, or Batman Fever soundtrack, I was like, oh yeah, this is a great song. It's perfect for this film. You know, I don't shit on Batman Forever like everyone else does. I kind of enjoy it. I think it's, you know, it has its corny moments. I don't know, that scene with Chris O'Donnell and the mop. I don't know what that was all about. Even then, watching it in the theater, I was just like, what is he doing with the mop? Like, you know,
nobody knows.
Right.
There were lots of choices in there that were a little bit. I mean, weird.
You're a circus guy, you know, like, you know, you walk the you walk the tightrope. It's like, what are you doing with the mop?
Yeah,
thing? I don't know. It was a really interesting scene.
That was actually one of the movies that I read the novelization for, and the book actually is not that bad. I could see where probably there was an original script that the book was written based on,
right,
that actually was more in tune with the Tim Burton films.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, actually exploring sort of the mentality of the villains and the reasons why they're doing what they're doing and stuff. And then Schumacher gets his hands on it and turns it into an old episode of Adam West Batman with neon lights.
Yes, it is. No, it's interesting you bring that up. You're very right. Joel Schumacher, Batman and Robin. I mean, sorry, Batman Forever, Batman Fever, is very neon.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of it's a combination of it's a very dark film, like, and I mean dark as like visually dark, yeah, and like the comic book, but then the neon is supposed to add like something trendy and 90s to it, I guess.
Yeah. It's sort of him taking the Tim Burton look and putting his own spin on it.
Yes, because Tim Burton definitely put his own look into his Batman films. You know?
Yeah, and then Batman and Robin was totally Schumacher all the way. So.
Well, and then the problem with Batman and Robin is that, like, he took all those same elements and he just overdid it.
Yeah,
like he overdid it with the neon. He overdid like even
the corniness, the yeah,
the acting was just like Schwarzenegger and Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Uma
Thurman. Yeah, their performances were just so, particularly Arnold Schwarzenegger's was just way like
too campy,
totally campy. Thank you, very very well said. Super campy. So you asked about the Batman and Robin soundtrack. We have "The End Is the Beginning Is the End" by the Smashing Pumpkins. We have "Look Into My Eyes" by Bone Thugs and Harmony. Oh yes, another song I liked, and I shouldn't say that I like this, but this was before like all the R. Kelly scandal stuff. There is the Gotham City song by R. Kelly, which I actually like, but I can't listen to anymore because it's R. Kelly. House of Fire by Arcana, Revolution by REM, of course, Foolish Games by Jewel. Yeah, just to name a few. Eric Benet, True to Myself, Michelle Ndegeocello, Poison Ivy. So yeah, just to name a few. So, but yeah, I think because of particularly the Jewel song, I think why the soundtrack did so well on the charts.
Yeah.
Now the actual single for Foolish Games and the version that is on the Batman and Robin soundtrack was really actually never released as a single. It was released as You Were Meant for Me was re-released as a single, and the Batman and Robin Foolish Games was put on the B-side. Yeah. But that re-release of You Were Meant for Me was like, I mean, I think that went to like number 2 on the Hot 100. It was definitely a number 1 on the adult contemporary chart too, which really pushed Foolish Games even for, which was,
because everyone's getting the single.
Yeah, because people were hearing Foolish Games on the radio, and then So yeah, that's my Bowland for foolish games.
That's such a crazy Bowland.
It's
That's not what I was expecting at all, actually.
yeah, I know. It's a little like drawn out, and it kind of I gotta I gotta go back and then sort of jump back in, So it's
Oh yeah, it's like those films where it has multiple years to tell a story. So
but
you,
leave it to me to like you know hit it off with a guy, and then he ghosts me because he gets bitten by a dog. Like that only
that's
sounds like
weird.
something that would happen to me, right?
Yeah, I kind of do feel sorry for him that he felt the need to just cut off everybody so he could heal.
Well, apparently he went through a lot.
Yeah,
He went yeah, and
because like my initial thought was like, yeah, at least he could have handed a phone to somebody and said, "Hey, call this person and tell them I'm okay, and I'll come back a few months later." Just to let you know what was going on.
Well, I think he had his family and everything. He had all these. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot to deal with. I guess
I've not had to deal with that, so.
especially in like 1996. We did not. I don't know. I feel like you can say all these negative things about iPhones and Androids and this all this advanced technology and everything, but I don't know. I think it definitely just puts us in a there's that part of us that as far as like the social media, it's like it's sort of it's destroyed our self-esteems and we're in and I think it's done nothing but but just continue to just uh, build up those stereotypes that we all have to be and look a certain way, and we have to compare ourselves to everybody, and because we're seeing everybody's like blow by blow, and
all these influencers and
all
stuff,
these influencers and people's vacations and having so much fun, and then it makes all the rest of us look like, oh, what am I doing with my life and blah blah blah. It is utter bullshit. But on the flip side, it's like, I don't know. He didn't have like a phone to I don't know. He didn't have technology to help cheer him up. He didn't have like a silly video he could watch, or there wasn't anything like readily available in his hand that
not easily. No.
Yeah. That could, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I find it so easy. I get so cheered up easily now. If I feel down, I just pull up fun shit on my phone. I pull up all my streaming services and just listen to all my silly pop music or whatever. So
as long as you stay off the social media places,
which my time on social media is very infrequent. I mean, I'm on it enough. I at least post stuff about what you and I are doing.
Yeah, that being said, Bad Pop Song on Instagram.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yes. We are all over Instagram. Both on my movie profile and the actual Bad Pop Song profile on Instagram. But yeah, poor Brad back in 1996. He didn't have anything to readily cheer him up or anything. So I don't know. I just think about all of us back then. It's like, how did we survive without our devices? Isn't it weird?
I remember when I first discovered or first started using legitimately texting, and it was an old flip phone, and I had to type in 333 in order to get an E, that sort of thing. But yeah, it actually came in so handy because I went on a vacation with my friends Eric and Kathy from Mouseguest,
right?
And
were your Disney cruises, right?
No, I think it was a park visit.
Okay.
Either which way, it was a great way for us to keep in contact with each other because we were all just going everywhere. And this is like when we first started Mouseguest and we were doing stuff. So it was a great way to keep contact with each other. And I was like, wow, this texting thing's actually kind of cool. I'm glad I have it. And I signed up for the extended text because you only had 5 texts a month or something stupid like that back then. But yeah, and I haven't looked back since. It's like, wow, texting is brilliant. It's great.
I know.
I would much prefer to text anything than, call somebody or whatever.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
It's just so
It feeds into my introverted brain.
I think we were twice as miserably and sad as we are now back then without technology.
It taketh or giveth and it taketh away.
So. So well put. This is why you are the co-host, because you're so articulate and you have
lies.
You have such you have such brilliant sayings and a way with words that I just don't seem to have. So I'm just glad. I think all the viewers, all the bad pop song viewers are lucky to have you, because
they're like, who is this guy? more of the Asian dude. Wow. He's actually kind of cool.
Whatever. You are way cool. So yeah, I don't know. I've talked way.
Yeah, we've diverged once again, as we are off to do with our music episodes.
But I want to add real quick before we end the show a little more about Foolish Games.
Yes, please.
Either version, really. The Pieces of You version or the Batman and Robin version, I think are both really good for a nice breakup playlist. If you are sad and macabre and like rainy day, you sort of have those moods where like you just listening to sad songs make you feel better. Definitely add either one or both of those versions to your playlist. So.
Awesome. Do you last question, do you put it on repeat to listen to it over and over again nowadays? Or
I was wailing this song on the way over here this afternoon. Breaking my heart. Oh.
Do you have still because you're happily married, do you still have a breakup music playlist?
Do you know me at all?
Fair.
All I listen to is sad songs.
Yeah.
I love songs. They make me so happy.
Me too.
Really? See,
yeah.
Another thing you and I have in common.
I love the sad songs.
Sad songs make me really happy. They actually kind of cheer me up. Because it just, I don't know, it just reminds us all of our humanity. And even though like relationship wise and being happily married and all that mushy stuff, whatever. I don't know. I like being reminded of the humanity, and whether it reminds me that like, oh God, at least I'm not going through that anymore, or I hope to never go through that again, or there's just something about hearing a really sad, painful song that just makes you say, wow, for a number of reasons, either because you've been through it yourself or just the impact of it. You're just like, whoa, like the idea that somebody can actually feel like that, it's just, even at like 50 something odd, 50, well, I'll be 54. Yeah. Even at this age, I am still like moved by a really good, sad song.
I look at it like, that you have the characters from Inside Out in your brain. So you have sadness there, and it's just a nice little ice cream sundae for her that just, helps her get through the day.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I love that movie.
It's a great film.
Did you see the second one?
I have not seen the second one.
God,
I need to.
Yeah. It's worth it just for Maya Hawke as anxiety.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of why I want to watch it too, because I do suffer from anxiety occasionally, so it would be useful for me to see, I'm sure.
Oh, you'd love it. Yeah, you'd totally love it. But yeah, sad songs and humanity, even the mid-tempo songs about like longing, I think are great too. Because there are plenty of like sad songs that have like a happier sort of mid-tempo beat, but the lyrics are still like, longing,
mopey and everything.
I'll do anything to be with this person. But I'm just gonna sing it in a really happy way. I love those songs in particular. So yeah, I could go on and on.
Yeah, let's wrap up the episode now, because we've talked enough. I think people need to get back with their lives, or go listen to the song again, or find the other version, listen to it, and compare and contrast.
Yes.
Leave your comments below which one you prefer better.
Oh yes, the Pieces of You version or the Batman and Robin version.
Well, thank you for watching this episode of Bad Pop Song. Remember to check out our website, badpopsong.com, for the latest episodes and links to the songs and films and whatever else we discuss. All that stuff is up there. Everything Bo. And be sure to like and subscribe to Bad Pop Song on YouTube. If you're there right now, hit that little button down there. It's blinking, probably. Subscribe. I don't know how that works, but, something like that. Anywho, tune in next time when Bo continues to invite us into his magical, wondrous, bubblegum world of all things media and music, and makes you cringe.
Indeed.
Not so many cringies this time.
Really?
We'll see what happens soon. Until then, I'm Dan.
I'm Bo.
Have fun.
Stay groovy.